What's up, everybody? It's the one, the only, the Phenome, and welcome to a Phenome special video regarding World of Warcraft Legion. Now, uh, yesterday I released a video about Death Knight artifact weapons, and basically the series will continue during this week, where I'm going to be looking at every artifact weapon for each spec of each class. And today it's the turn of the Paladins, so without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the first Paladin spec I'm going to be looking at is Holy, which is a healing spec, and the weapon that Holy Paladins will be wielding is called the Silver Hand. And the description reads, as one of the Titanic Watchers, Keeper Tyr bore this weapon in countless battles against the Titan's enemies. When one of his fellow keepers, Loken, fell to corruption, Tyr and his allies stole the discs of Norgannon to investigate the extent of Loken's betrayal. Discovering the theft, Loken sent horrible monsters after Tyr's group, but Tyr sacrificed his life to fight the creatures while his comrades escaped with the discs. His hammer was lost with him, somewhere beneath the land now named in his honor, Tyr's Fall. Okay, so here we have a weapon that was actually wielded by an immensely powerful being, in this case the Titanic Keeper Tyr. Even though he was known to exist, for some reason he wasn't joining his keeper's brethren in Ulduar, which is where we first kind of got wind of him. And at the time it did seem odd. I mean, where was Tyr? Some speculated that he had mutated into the second last boss of Ulduar, which was General Vezax, but the devs said that wasn't the case. And yeah, he wasn't anywhere to be found, and yeah, and that led to speculation that Tyr might actually play a major part in some future expansion. Well, it took 3 expansions and he's finally here, or rather he isn't, because he's dead. The description here is quite clear. He was slain by Loken's minions, so yeah. I think the only way that he will actually appear in the expansion is it's kind of a cameo, maybe, like his spirit may appear or something like that. But yeah, it might actually maybe his spirit might appear and he will instruct the paladins how to use the Silver Hand properly. To be honest, in terms of lore here, I don't really see the point of him dying over these discs of Norgannon, and I don't understand why they were so instrumental to Tyr and his allies. As far as we know, these discs contain information on the Titanic experiments with the Earthen race, which are the predecessor of dwarves. Now, how can that information somehow imply Loken? I don't really know. But who knows? Maybe we'll find that out during the actual quest line. Also, it was finally confirmed that Tyr's Fall was indeed was named after Tyr, which is good to know. There was speculation. I think most people thought that Tyr's Fall was named after Tyr because nearby in the Plaguelands there was the town called Tyr's Hand, which was until the Wrath of the Lich King, which was occupied by the Scarlet Crusade, and yeah, basically that he was the only kind of reason why those lands would have been named like that. And also, we do know that the first paladins were among the humans, and where did humans live? They did live in Tirisfal, so that all makes sense. Now, as for the place where he might have fallen, actually, who knows? As far as I know, there are no places in Tirisfal which would have any connection to the keeper or his weapon, for that matter. Personally, I think it would be cool to see the Whispering Forest utilized. Now, for those who don't know, that is a place which is not marked on the map. In the mountains of Western Tirisfal, like if you look at the map, it shows what the like on the top of the map it shows what place it is. Like, for example, if you mouse over Tirisfal, if you mouse over Undercity, Brill, for example, Agamon Mill, all that kind of stuff. But when you mouse over Western Tirisfal and the hills that are there, there's nothing. There is no description for that, but it is the place where the Whispering Forest is located, and yeah, there is a spot in, I think, in the center of this forest, where from time to time, fairy dragons called Fey Drunk Darters conduct an odd ritual. They fly in from all different sides, and then they start to kind of channel this star of light, basically on the ground. There is all sorts of eerie music going on. So it wouldn't surprise me just to find out that in such there at such a weird place, maybe it owes its peculiarities to the Titanic Watcher buried at that spot. I mean, at least the weapon could be there, and that's what would cause like the manifestation of the light in such a weird way. Who knows? Who knows? Uh, for now, though, we don't really know who or what will face at his resting place. All we do know is that you will receive Tyr's Hammer and, surprisingly, a Libram as well. In my opinion, this is really good because items like the Libram bring a lot to the character in terms of class fantasy. Also, a usable, customizable, uh, basically a usable and customizable special item like that would really add to the class, and in this case spec identity, and you could really distinguish yourself from other characters in your class. Like you could definitely tell that this guy is a red paladin. He only has his two-handed blade. Then you have protection paladins who have the sword and board, and then you have holy paladins who have the one-handed mace or hammer as well as the libram. So I think that is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Right. Okay. Enough of that. Let's take a look at the weapon itself and its variants. And hell yeah, we do have another great set of weapons here. Um, what I like here is the fact that again, there's a lot of variety here. Every weapon variant is different to the other ones. You can pick the original or enhanced version if you really want to showcase your character as a kind of a beacon of holy power. Basically you could show what this character is, like he is, and what he believes in, and that his faith in the holy light is unshakable, and it's manifesting through his weapon. I mean, that's pretty cool. If you like maybe a more fiery look on your paladin, you could opt for the middle one. Although to be honest, that fire doesn't seem to be manifesting in the way that I would consider holy fire. I think it's a bit too elemental and lava-like, and that doesn't really fit a paladin. Now, the one to the right of the lava hammer, that's probably my favorite. I mean, obviously, it's if you have raided Ulduar, then you might recognize this straight away, the styling here, and I really like it. I really do. Like the fist in the middle and the kind of the blue tones on the other parts of the weapon, they are really fitting to the Titan style of architecture and weaponry. So that's cool. That's cool. The final one seems to be more mechanic than anything, and not really fitting for a holy paladin. But I'm pretty sure there are people out there who would really like that weapon and who could work that into some interesting transmog or something. So it's cool. It's cool. I really wish it was symmetrical though, because in its current incarnation, it with the heavy accent on the left side, it really does look like a striking weapon, and we all know that's not going to be its function. It's going to be a conduit for the paladin's power, basically through which he will channel his holy spells. All in all, these are great-looking weapons, even though only the two on the right, the two on the left, really kind of manifest as holy weapons. The variety overall is great, and with different color schemes, it seems literally there will be a version for everyone. Right. Now let's move on to the protection spec. Now the protection is a tanking spec for the paladin, and the weapon, or in this case the shield that these paladins will be wielding, is called Truth Guard. And now the description reads: the Titanic Watchers Tyr and Arcadus created the shield when their comrade Loken fell to corruption. They gave Truth Guard to a Rykul champion who used it to expose Loken's treachery. When Tyr and his allies later stole the discs of Norgannon and fled, the champion stayed behind and held off many of Loken's servants. A desperate Loken sent horrific monsters after Tyr, who fell in combat. In time, the Rykul champion migrated to Stormheim in the Broken Isles, where the shield was eventually entombed in the Path of Kings. Right. With this weapon, or rather shield, there's not too much I can say which hasn't been said before, since this is the same story about Tyr, Loken, and the discs. There is a rather ridiculous thing here, though, where the story feels disjointed and slightly confusing. Now, as it was said in the description, a Rykul champion received Truthguard, and he was the one to hold off Loken's servants from chasing Tyr and his party. Initially, you might think, right, he stayed behind, held them off as long as he could, but in the end, he failed because, Loken's monsters did get to Tyr, and they did kill him. So it would seem logical that the Rykul also died, since it doesn't say that he held off all of Tyr's enemies, and to me it would seem logical that these monsters that killed Tyr would have taken care of this champion first, who was kind of blocking them all in, and then they killed him off, and then all of Loken's minions could chase Tyr. But hold on, the champion appears in Stormheim after some time with his shield, so he survived? I think there's a bit of the story missing here, and hopefully it will be filled in during the questline for the shield. Since the questline will probably be going on, not probably, it will most certainly be going on in Stormheim, which is one of the new zones on the Broken Isles. We can't really speculate what's going to happen there, since we don't know anything about Stormheim yet. So we'll just have to wait and see. But what is visible right now, and something we can take a look at, are the visual variants for the shield. Right, sec, and boom. Now, as someone who appreciates shields in general, this is really near the top of the list in my artifact weapon rankings, so to speak, because these are absolutely gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're shiny. They're awesome. Basically, I'm completely in love with these shields. These visuals alone are making me want to main a Protection Paladin in Legion, because it just looks so good. It just looks so good. And their design really kind of set, especially the one to the right from the middle, like the fourth one in this row, that one really sums up what the Protection Paladin is really about, and it's using both great defensive ability, but also holy power to complete his task at hand. Now, the base shield might seem a bit simplistic, but then again, it has to be quite simplistic because it is the base version, and it still looks great. It's simple, but it's great. It's still beautiful. Now, the three in the middle, I don't think which is best. Maybe the one that I mentioned first of all, like the one with the holy light radiating out of it. But all in all, they are all gorgeous in my eyes. The one to the right might be the odd one out, because I'm not a fan of this black stripe. I mean, if they would have gone with the same kind of purple fluctuating energy around it, I think that would have been much better. But it's good. It's good. Maybe that kind of that black bit will fit in well with the overall look of the Paladin. We don't know that, but it might. So I won't be bashing that. It's still a great design in my opinion. So in general, I think the Protection Paladins are absolute winners this expansion with these shield designs, and hopefully the corresponding swords will also be thing, and basically they'll be good complements to the shields, which are really the MVP in this combination. Yeah, this is great stuff. Great stuff. Okay, so now it is time to look at the final spec for the Paladin, which is Retribution. So Retribution is going to be a damage spec for the Paladin class, and the weapon that they're going to be wielding is Ashbringer. Now the description reads: King Magni Bronzebeard forged the Ashbringer from a piece of crystal purified by wielders of the Holy Light. This gave the sword strange light-bearing powers. It was named for its ability to slaughter undead, leaving nothing but ash in its wake. Ashbringer passed through several hands, serving both light and shadow, before it came to the legendary paladin Tyrion Fordring, who used it to shatter the Lich King's runeblade Frostmourne on top of the ice-crowned citadel. Tyrion has carried Ashbringer with him ever since. Okay, back to controversy. Hell yeah. So, the Ashbringer is kinda in the same boat with the Shards of Frostmourne, which we discussed in the previous video, but this is a bit different, because in this case, the Red Paladins will be getting this weapon in its current awesome, super powerful incarnation. There are a couple of slight little problems. One, it's currently wielded by a major lore character, namely, as it was said, Tyrion Fordring, High Lord of the Argent Crusade. Now, the way this could happen is, I think, in only one way. High Lord Fordring will be slain at the start of Legion. And honestly, it's a shame, since I really liked him as a character. He's a great character, so I don't know. I mean, he's been made into a great leader, and it would be really wasteful to kind of remove him from the game straight up. So yeah, I wouldn't want to see Tyrion go, but I kind of think he will go. I think he is a major character, but I don't think the devs count him as. I think the devs still consider him expendable. So, and that's exactly what's going to happen. In any case, there is another problem here. WoW devs have said before, and this is from memory. This is purely from memory. I remember that people were talking about this. That there were certain weapons that were so integral to the lore of the whole world of Warcraft, literally, that they should never be wielded by players in game. And hence they would stay in this kind of epic, super epic, legendary, one of a kind status, basically. And when they were stating this, the Ashbringer was used as the example. Like, there will always be only one Ashbringer. Someone will be wielding it, and players won't be able to use it. And now that it seems that they're going full 180 degrees with this decision to put the sword in the game, and the idea that there might be even thousands of players on one realm running around in an Ashbringer, it seems rather worrying and kind of silly. I mean, it remains to be seen what the impact of this decision is going to be. I mean, it could happen that there could be a moment when everyone's just running around with a demon hunter, and you're maybe the only guy who's playing a red paladin on your realm. I mean, who knows? But still, this idea when there can be a whole lot of players running around with the Ashbringer, come on, it's rather worrying, and it really is silly. Yeah. Hopefully there won't be too much outrage and ridicule when this actually is implemented. I mean, I think most of the rage has already gone out. I mean, with the announcement, everyone just kind of voiced their raging opinions, and I think in the end it will die down. So, we'll see. This is all in the future. Now, in terms of lore, this weapon has earned its credentials through having immense light-bearing powers, as it is said here. It could slaughter undead like it's nothing, and they only left ash after them. And also, this weapon has been involved with some good acts, like the Shattering of Frostmourne, which was also mentioned in the description, and also quite a few vile acts, like, for example, the original wielder, Alexandros Mograine. He was betrayed by his own son, who was being mind-controlled by a Dreadlord, but that's another story. And basically, his son betrayed his father, took up Ashbringer and killed his father, basically. And that immediately corrupted the blade, but how it came back to normal state, that's, as I said, that's a different story. So there is no surprise. That this weapon was implemented as one of the Paladin weapons. on that side. I mean, it is definitely worth putting up as an artifact, but should they have done it? We'll see. We'll see. Now, uh, with all this history on the weapon, I feel like its last wielder and its most notable wielder, High Lord Forging, I hope that in the quest chain they will give him at least an epic exit from the stage. He might go out with a blaze of glory with us and his warriors of the Argent Crusade fighting at his side, and in the end, like, he would go to fight some huge demon lieutenant or something, and that would be how he got slain, and that's when you take up the Ashbringer. Yeah. Hopefully the questline will be as awesome as the weapon itself, because honestly, it doesn't deserve anything less. Okay, let's take a look at the visual weapon variants. And as you might expect with Ashbringer, it's absolutely epic. I mean, the enhanced weapon really catches your eye, with holy fire fuming off the tip of the blade, and with the orb being a spark of light instead of the medallion in the original weapon, which is a work of art in and of itself. I mean, the fiery sword is really cool as well, and there is potential for some awesome animations with the fluctuating fire and everything. The shattered one is probably the most bananas of them all. It's absolutely bonkers, and to see it in motion, it's going to be amazing to see maybe the lightning bouncing from the orb to the blade, and the shattered top kind of bits and pieces moving around in the air, barely being held together. The animations for that could also be absolutely awesome. The corrupted version looks pretty cool. It's kind of like almost like a vampiric blade in my eyes, with a bit of fel energy. But to be honest, I would have liked the original corrupted Ashbringer, which you could see in the old Naxxramas raid instance, which was wielded by former High Lord Mograine. Yeah, but all in all, the variants are great, including this corrupted vampiric one, and this. And with these variants, I mean, the visuals are looking as epic as the story of the Ashbringer itself. And yeah, hopefully everything will be fine with this weapon, and there won't be any excess controversy stirred with it. Okay, so to sum everything up, I think that the Red Paladins are getting the real treat here with being able to wield Ashbringer and having all these awesome variants. But to be honest, I think Protection Paladins are maybe. I mean, sure, they are definitely at least a step down in terms of lore, but in terms of visuals, oh, sorry. In terms of visuals, I think they are as in as good of a position as the Red Paladins are. To be honest, even though holy weapon designs also were pretty good, compared to the protection and the Red Paladins, I think they're kinda in a bit of a disadvantage. But I think they're gonna be fine. I mean, they do get the Librams, so I think that's gonna be a pretty cool individual feature for the holy Paladins. Right. Also, yeah, I think holy might have the edge on, especially on protection, with the special mechanic for each weapon, which we know that there will be a special mechanic for each weapon. Okay, that's gonna be the end of this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then feel free to subscribe to my channel, and if you'll leave a like or a comment, that would also be very helpful. Also, don't forget that the channel has Twitter and Facebook pages. Check them out. The links for those are in the description. Right, that's gonna be all. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.